A free community program that offers support and hope to those who have suffered a personal loss or traumatic experience will be held this coming week here in Plattsburgh. And here with us now to talk about the 6th annual Evening of Healing that's being held in Plattsburgh is Jeweler and Chelsea Scheefer, who are the moderators. Welcome, it's nice to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
For those who haven't heard about this special evening or attended the night, what is it all about?
It's about people who have been through traumatic events, but it's how they got back to their strength and their resilience. It's not focusing on the trauma itself, but really how did you come out of it so strong? What did you do to become resilient again? And what was your support? And that helps other people in the audience because they may have gone through something similar, and it's a very powerful evening.
And whose idea was this? How did this begin 6 years ago?
This began with Dina McCullough, Sally Meisenheimer, and Jen Hernich. It was their brainchild. We're all in the Clinton County Suicide Prevention Coalition, and it was a brainchild of that. And Dina McCullough is a suicide loss survivor. She lost her son who took his life, and she has been a strong proponent in this type of event.
These are stories of personal traumatic loss, pain, suicide by family members, and by sharing your stories, the hope is that it will inspire those in the audience, that they will be empowered, it will give them a sense of strength and hope.
Exactly. It's just how did we become resilient again? I'm a suicide loss survivor, and Chelsea had her trauma when she was a teenager, and some have lost to house fires. You know, trauma comes in many shapes and forms. But that's, like I said, it's not the focus. It's how did we get strong again? What support systems did we use? What counseling and things like that. So a lot of the stories resonate in different ways, and people can get hope.
And you talked about, you both have suffered loss.
Yes. My father took his own life when I was 8, and Jen's father took his own life when she was 5, and she's had various other traumas. Her focus this year is workplace traumas. She's had 3 separate workplace traumas. So she'll talk about that. And Porcia's going to talk about generational trauma, how traumatic events sometimes gets passed down generation to generation. Racism or sexism or, any, it could be a variety of traumas.
And I was going to ask you about the speakers this year, who they are and what their stories are.
Kent Bachus is a regional director of Community Bank, and 16 years ago his brother-in-law took his own life, and his nephew, I'm sorry I don't remember how long ago, died of an fentanyl-laced overdose. So he's had 2 separate traumatic incidents, and he's been his sister's support. It was his sister's husband who took his own life, and Kent has been her support system, and he's got a very poignant story to tell on how he and she both became, and the whole family became resilient and strong again. Jennifer, I don't want to steal the thunder, but she has 3 separate workplace traumas that she then went on to a counseling program that was absolutely phenomenal. It was an intensive program, and she's come out the other side, and it's just amazing how, because it took over her work life, her personal life, and things like that, and she's strong and resilient once again. And Porcia Turco is an amazing speaker. She has spoke to the Inspire group as well about diversity and adversity and things, and so I'm looking forward to hearing what she has to say.
Chelsea, you participated. You were the guest speaker for the first night of this when it was held 6 years ago now.
6 years.
At the Strand Theater in Plattsburgh. And at 17, you were in a snowboarding accident that left you paralyzed. And how difficult was that for you, dealing with that and adjusting and living your life?
At that time, and now we're talking like 22 years ago, I mean, it's a long time, it was very hard. I mean, it was very, very hard. But since then, just the family, the support from friends, and just knowing that I would be okay, and that I've always looked at other individuals that I aspire to be like, or that I feel are a role model to me, and I continue to do that in life, and I think we all kind of do that. And so this event has allowed me, you know, coming from the first event where I was the keynote speaker telling my story, to being just somebody in the audience, and then now being a co-chair, and I've spoken I think a couple times at the event, just briefly, just being a co-facilitator, and just feeling every year that it's so important for me in my healing, my journey, because, you know, the injury that I had, being that it was so long ago, I still have things that come up that remind me of the difficulties or the challenges of that injury and of that experience. So I just feel like it's an important practice for me to come back every year, not only to support myself, but to support everybody else that's up there, and that just has this force of courage to tell their story and to use that that powerful message of how they've overcome or how they are overcoming that, and that just is it's so inspiring.
Was that a tough decision for you to drum up the courage to do that?
To speak about it.
Is that hard for
a
number of these survivors to get up on a stage or get up in front of a crowd and relive these stories?
It varies. Tell your story. And then
well, I mean, for me, I've told my story, and at that point when I had said that I would, again, it had been something that I had been, you know, I feel comfortable telling about what happened because it's almost a script kind of that you've told over and over again. But this was different because it allowed me to sit among other people that also had a story to tell. And I was just surprised by my sense of pride and respect for these people. I just felt like anything that I had gone through really was nothing. After listening to everybody else, it really takes you out of your own experience and almost into somebody else's with a different set of eyes and a different perspective.
You don't refer to survivors as victims.
No.
That is intentional.
Absolutely.
What's the purpose behind that, the idea behind that?
Because you don't want the connotation of a victim. You want a warrior or survivor, someone who's come through. Things happen to everyone. It's how you react and how you evolve from things. Being a victim sets you back. This is putting you forward.
We want to help people to feel like they have the tools, or that they at least have a glimmer of hope, that they have some sense of control or semblance of their life, and that this allows them to get that sense that they're not controlled by this event, that it is something that happened, but that they can move forward.
And you've both been part of this evening for several years now. Why do you volunteer? Why do you keep doing it?
It's our baby. I'm a very strong proponent of getting rid of the stigma around mental illness, and I'm, suicide prevention. I've started with Kevin Hamill, our patient advocacy, and Bonnie Black of BHSN, and Amanda Allen of NAMI. We've started an education program for the hospital. Suicide prevention awareness. We always had some, but we've got a robust program. Being part of the coalition, being part of the awareness days, any time that we can help someone and just be there for people. I coined the phrase, I'll be glad when mental illness diagnosis is accepted the same way that hypertension or diabetes is. Anything we can do to get rid of the stigma and talk about their strength and resilience. It's not always focused on the trauma or the mental illness or the disease. Because we've had cancer survivors, we had, the gamut of different traumatic experiences.
Do members of the audience come up to you after and say, wow, this not only touched me, but this may help me?
Yes, we stay around for 45 minutes to an hour, and we have counselors in the back of the room in case some things hit people very hard. It could really resonate with them in a negative way. We have counselors available, and they can go talk. It doesn't happen frequently, but we want to make sure we're prepared, and we're there to just talk. Talking does a lot of.
Is the hope also that they may be pointed in the direction of an advocacy group or support group that may help them that they were unaware of? Yes,
we put resources in the program, and we're all members of the United Way, and we direct people to them because there's so many resources through the United Way as well.
An evening of healing, stories of strength will be held this coming Monday, April 29th at 6 p.m. at the Newman Center on Broad Street, right near the campus of SUNY Plattsburgh. It is free and open to everyone.